Yeah, welcome to Early Watch for May 7th.
Good morning, people. Hope you enjoyed that little bit of BOC's Godzilla. Uh,
I can't get enough
I
of that.
love, I love the classic rock, and that's one of the great ones that kind of flew under the radar.
Whenever we start hosting these things off of YouTube so we don't have to deal with their rules, then I want to start with that intro because that intro is one of the old movies of Godzilla too. It's great.
Uh, Actually, they had several big hits, but that's probably their best friggin' tune. I don't know. Don't Fear the Reaper's pretty good too.
Well, but that one gets played so much that it's sort of like, you know what I mean? It loses its edge or something.
Yeah, you get
Like
tired of
on
hearing
car
it.
commercials and stuff.
Uh, Godzilla kind of flew way the hell under the radar back in the day because that sort of thing was not played on your AM top 40 station. Yes, I'm from back before there was real FM radio. It existed, but nobody used it.
AM was the stronger one, right, for a while.
Oh, yeah, you could get AM, like you could get WLS in Texas, which is a Chicago station, at night, and you still can do that. I mean, AM will still skip, but it's just not very reliable like it used to be. They cut the power back that they could use. But yeah, that was one of the songs we used to play live in the cover band I was in. Uh, it's one of those tunes I really, really liked.
So,
Anyway,
is it a
today,
difficult song to play or an easy song to
no,
play?
it's easy.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, you could take somebody who has never touched a guitar and teach them to play the bulk of that song in probably 15 or 20 minutes. There ain't much to it. Even the actual guitar solos in it ain't that difficult.
Looks like we got
That
a bunch
ain't.
of the early watch crew over on the YouTube side. Threw a link to the Gun Channel side, which is better, where we simulcast everything.
Yes, everybody ought to be on the gun channel side. They want me to see their questions. That's where you got to put them because I don't watch YouTube.
I was just telling Tony that I had figured out over the weekend finding a way to get the stuff the way we need to get it to get early watch up on iTunes. So I'll be efforting on that this morning. If anybody wants to jump in and uh, keep the conversation going, you got some time to, then let us know on the Gun Channel side.
Yep. Uh, I seen a couple of really interesting things this morning as far as news goes. For one, it seems that there's 5 counties now in Illinois that are gun sanctuary counties, and 15 more that are interested. So that may be a big statement being made here for the gun community across this country. And
Yeah,
I just,
especially in states like that where you got kind of monopolized by the or whatever by the one city. All the counties come along and show opposition like that.
yeah, it's kind of funny because you see the newspapers and news sources out of Chicago talking about all the hicks down here wanting their guns protected, uh, and they come out and show their true colors. What they think of downstate Illinois. We're great as long as we're sending our money to them, but
And the food, I don't know why they keep thinking like they're not growing food on the rooftops.
well, we don't grow a shitload of food here except for uh, livestock. I mean, most of this that's grown here is not food stuff, to be honest. We do have a big contingent of Libby's growers around here that do grow food, but most of the crops here are not food purposed. I'm not really explaining it very well. I suppose the soybean crop is more so than the corn crop, but the corn crop, a lot of our corn goes into alcohol. And most field corn is not quote unquote edible. It's meant to be used in other purposes, making alcohol, livestock feeds and things like that. A lot of soybeans go into livestock feed.
All right, but it's still feeding their food.
Yeah, true. They ain't growing none of that shit in Chicago.
That's all I'm saying. They're not self-sufficient. None of the cities are. They're like quite the opposite, really. They only exist because of a massive infrastructure and obviously all the resources we got. But yeah, I think that's great that when you first started telling me that, I thought you were going to say 2, but you're saying it went from 2 to 5 and now 15.
Well, it initially started with Effingham County, was the first one. And then another county in the southern part of the state did it. And I can't find a list of the counties that did it. But I am going to go to our next county board meeting and approach this idea to them. See if we can get it done here. I just got to figure out when the hell it is. I mean, we downstate rural counties fucking hate the fact that we get shit on by Chicago all the time. And they put in a huge fucking wind farm here, and they pipe the electricity to Chicago. I'm like, what kind of bullshit is that? You just wait. If the grid goes down, I'm gonna go fucking hotwire the wind farm to our power grid. We got 75 windmills here, and they ship fucking power to Chicago. Fuck that.
I guess it's windy enough there. It must be if they put them up.
We always have some wind, yeah. I think maybe 5 or 10 days a year they don't work because the wind lays down, but during the day we usually have some breeze, and it doesn't take a whole lot making things turn, which surprises me. But nighttime, that's different. We don't have wind at night very often. I'm not quite sure why that works that way, but that's the way it is.
Probably the heat or something. Heat of the sun isn't there to push the wind around.
Not possible. I don't know.
So at least, like you say, if you effort towards getting a county to work towards that, even if it's not passed, right? If it's just on the ballots, that's like being on the record. And I think that can be used to show dissatisfaction with the policy, right? So when you see a policy go into the state, and then you see dozens of the counties upset with that decision, again, that's on the record. So I think it's definitely a valuable effort to petition the counties to do that, to become sanctuaries.
Absolutely. I do too. I think it's one of the most important statements we can possibly make at this point, given our current political situation. Because they're always touting how strict Illinois is on gun control. It would be lovely to say that, all the counties that don't have city in them are opposed. Because downstate's all gun friendly except for like Peoria County and
that's
Champaign
Springfield
County.
Well, that's Springfield.
What about Springfield?
What's Peoria County?
Peoria County is just northwest of me, but it happens to have Peoria, of course, and then all the surrounding suburbs. And because Peoria has fairly steep crime, and it's fucking controlled by liberals. We have a couple of cities here, but none of them are big enough and don't have the crime problems like that here in Tazewell County. We have Pekin, which would be one of the most gun-friendly cities in this country, I suppose. You look at the number of gun shops they got. Then we have East Peoria here, which is basically high rent district. I mean, it's Tony part of town. It's like you take my doctors and stuff where I'm at down here. My doctors are all pro-gun. They even carry. And that really goes against what you see. That reminds me, when I was at the nurse practitioners over this last surgery I had, I got asked the question, do I feel safe at home? It's the first time I've ever been asked. I'm like, yeah, I feel safe wherever the hell I'm at because I carry a gun. Okay, I got to ask. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? See my old lady, you think she's beating me up or something?
I guess that's what it's for.
I don't know. It caught me off guard completely. Otherwise, I would not have mentioned owning a gun.
Maybe to see people's state of mind, like if they're at constant dis-ease or something. I don't know.
I mean, hell, I feel perfectly safe wherever the hell I'm at.
You would think that's the kind of thing that a doctor with their discretion would be able to determine without needing to have a checklist of questions to ask.
Yeah, I don't. Like I said, it caught me off guard.
Like, oh, this person doesn't make eye contact. Oh, this person, acting like a beaten puppy or something.
I don't make eye contact with you, bitch, because I can't hardly sit up straight because I hurt. But that's at the hospital in Peoria that asked that. Now, the hospital here in Hopedale, where I normally go for all my stuff, except for my heart work, they've never asked me anything about safety or guns or anything except where did I get this holster that I carry. My doctor asked that because he wanted one that rode that low.
They should ask, and then if you're like, I carry this 9mm, they can go, okay, that says a lot about your mental state, because you think a 9mm is sufficient. It's questionable.
9mm is sufficient if you know how to shoot a gun.
See, there you go. That could be an alert for the doctor. Like, uh-oh, this guy's probably crazy.
Fucking 22 is sufficient if you know how to shoot one.
You see, now you're bordering on Canadian. Like, you can
ventilate somebody where they ain't meant to be ventilated, you're going to fuck up their day.
Oh, man, YouTube's being weird.
Now, I don't carry a 22 as a carry gun very much. I do once in a great while. When I'm hunting, I do, because supposedly when you're out hunting, you're not supposed to carry any other caliber than you can hunt with. That's Department of Natural Resources crap. So basically, on those days, I carry a 22.
That's so that you people don't slaughter innocent critters out there.
Goddamn right. Tree rats.
Lord, if you can't kill a big enough animal, you'll just start killing the little animals because you're bloodthirst.
There ain't an animal in this fucking state I can't kill with 22. And that's fucking fact. Maybe not so easy with the 22 pistol, although I seen God, he must have been, and bear in mind I'm saying this from probably 8-year-old kid's vision, a 2,000-pound bull dropped with the 22 pistol. But it was point blank. And I wouldn't have got that close. Even today, I wouldn't want to get that close with that much beef on the hoof. But I seen my uncle do it. Little Iver Johnson 22 pistol, break top thingy. Put one round in it, walked up behind the bull, stuck it behind his ear, and pulled the trigger. The fucking bull just dropped. Boom. That was impressive. to an 8 or 9 year old kid, or however fuck old I was, 5 maybe. Oh no, I'd have been older than 5. I was probably somewhere around 8. That's one of those memories in life that have stuck with me, where a lot of other bullshits went away, and it made me believe in the 22 quite early on. I did take the granddaughter to the range Saturday for her first time, and I gave her her new rifle. I gave the grandson his rifle, although I haven't posted the picture yet because I fucked up and uploaded too much, I guess, on the gun channels thing. So I suppose I have to wait. Grandson's there with his new cricket also, but I got a picture of him shooting my revolver. And I'm going to post that pretty soon when I can. But anybody who wants to see it, my profile, you look at my cover photos, I think, and it's a picture of my granddaughter with her little pink and black cricket at the range. If anybody wants to see it. Proof that I live what I speak. That is the greatest fucking ringtone.
They just played Reveille over at the base here.
That's my biggest bitch with cell phones is trying to get one that sounds like a fucking phone.
Yeah, because none of that other stuff, those little beeps or tingles or twinkles, none of that shit wakes me up or makes me alert.
No, hell, everywhere I've ever been around a damn phone, it rang like that. It's hard to beat a new freaking thing into an old dog's head. And my freaking Android had that kind of ringtone, only it wasn't that close together. It rang like 2-second intervals, like a regular telephone. And this fucking Windows phone,
I can send you the file. It's just a file, and then you just tell your thing to use that file instead of something else.
The hell, I don't listen to my phone anymore.
Yeah.
I have everybody wants to talk to me, call the old lady. My phone hangs outside. People may think I'm kidding about that, but I'm not. I mean, my phone will not work in this garage with me. I have to hang it outside the door to get it to do internet. And whenever I get around to it and stop buying guns and use my money for something else, I'm going to get regular internet service here again. But guns are more important, so I tend to go to the gun shop more than I go to the Verizon store. Or I don't even fucking email the cable company anymore. They send me mail every day begging me to come back, but they haven't sent a deal I like yet. They send out a deal where I can get internet by itself, then we'll talk. Right now they're wanting to offer deals for all of it, internet, home telephone service, and cable TV, and I don't want all that shit. That amounts to paying a couple $100 a month. I'm on a fixed income. That would bite into my gun buying money. Not that I have a hell of a lot of it in the first place. Anyway, I was perusing on the MSN page, and I saw an article from the LA Times about a girl at the NRA meeting who was a 9-year-old sharpshooter. Now, forgive me, I don't remember the kid's name.
From LA or from California? Yeah.
I don't know where she's from. I perused the article, but I didn't read it that close. I don't think so. I think she's from Texas.
Okay.
But maybe. Anyways, the write-up was in the LA Times.
Okay.
And it was actually a really decent article on this little girl, and the aspects of children learning to shoot guns. And I thought, now seems extremely out of place to me for the LA Times. Hang on, I'll see if I can find the damn thing and post it in the chat. So,
boy, I'm impressed. I got this software that Never Enough Ammo recommended to me for pulling. You can use it for pulling your videos down off of YouTube. I'm using it to pull the audio from videos off of YouTube for the podcasting. And I went over to my channel where I've got all the band chats, and I went to grab one of the band chats, and it said, "Oh, this isn't a playlist. Do you want to grab everything from the playlist?" I'm like, "Yes." So now I'm sitting here watching the robot do all the work for me. Pretty nice. It's downloading 44 videos for me. Yeah.
Oh, God damn it.
We've got a couple of things coming in from the YouTube side. They've been throwing them over on the internal here.
I'm going to paste.
Patriot is saying, "What's
the link to that article?"
Senator from Arizona? What senator from Arizona?
I just posted in the early watch. What is this?
Over here? Yep.
Yeah, the early watch chat room. That article from the LA Times. It was actually not a scathing attack on the gun community. It was actually a fairly decent article. And it surprised me, considering it came from the LA Times. So y'all want to see something like that? There you go. And if I miss something in it, please let me know, because it's entirely possible that I would miss things in it, because, like I said, I didn't read it. I just skimmed it. But the only thing I think would surprise me more is if it came out in the New York Times. Because the LA Times, and anything I've ever seen from them, they have not been gun friendly at all.
So this says, like you're saying, it's fairly, I don't know what to call it, but unbiased, non-biased. At least it doesn't seem so. Paragraphs into it here, it says the NSSF, they don't really explain what it is, but they say there's a 77% increase in female gun ownership since 2005, with 5.4 million women participating in target shooting. So that's a nice fact to see there, and they don't ignore it, or they don't just, pass it right by.
I brought 3 into it in the past couple of years, and it's going to be 4, and it's going to be 5 here pretty soon, because my number 3 daughter's asked to go to the range, and she's the only one of the bunch that ain't been into guns at all. She's the one that asked me to buy one for her son for Christmas, which I did, but she's just not a gun person. So, it is what it is. But she did ask to go to the range sometime, so I got all these 22s that are really easy to shoot and pretty fun to play with. So
this is pretty cool. It goes in to say that, that she stopped by this booth and she was recognized and stopped by a bunch of girl shooters who recognized her from her internet presence. And then they talk about how big her internet presence is. And then how the little 9-year-old, was inspired by a 17-year-old girl who's a competitive shooter. And the story of that, and how her godfather was babysitting her when she found that, and then she found another YouTube channel. So it's really interesting that it talks about the culture and the way that these girls are using social media. I mean, it could have been like, oh, I watched a video about cheerleading practice, and she was inspired by a 17-year-old cheerleader, and she found another YouTube channel where two sisters were cheerleaders. It's no different, except they just swapped shooting in here.
I thought it was really good that it was not slanted one way or the other. They just basically reported on what it was, which is what really surprised me.
Her mom was not into the whole firearms thing because of safety concerns. Wait, her mom was not in favor of the whole firearms thing when it first started. Shooting is the one sport, and then it says because of the safety concerns, we asked her this, and then the mom finishes, shooting is the one sport where she's never gotten hurt. There's so many safety checks and balances in terms of safety. So that's kind of cool. So they really address a lot of things. Like you said, this is a pretty decent article.
Yeah, they even mentioned in there once where she got disqualified at a match for unsafe gun handling, which she turned around and pointed the gun the wrong way, because they're really, really, really adamant on that 170 rule on most of these sports, shooting sports.
Mm-hmm.
So, no fancy twirling or you'll get thrown out. No cross draw unless you turn. There's for those who don't know, the 170-degree rule is you get a part of the circle around you in front of you. 170 degrees is the limit of which way you can point the gun. So if you go past that, like at a right angle to yourself, either way, you get penalized. Usually it's disqualified, but I don't know that that's always the case. And they included that in the article, and not in a besmirching way. I mean, the article was done really well from our standpoint here.
How'd you find this? Just doing like a search for stuff, or did?
Nope, it popped up on my freaking news feed.
Okay. I wonder if that's the kind of thing where you can watch what do you call it? The Molly Hennessy Fisk and see if she's got other articles, because she seems like she does a good job of being I don't know what's the word, complete in her reporting.
Fair. I mean, she actually seems non-biased.
Iraq, Lebanon. Looks like she's legit.
No, that came up on my MSN homepage. So I don't actually seek out shit for the news. I can't afford the more medications I have to have when I do that shit. I'm telling you, me and Jimmy discussed this off the air once, but I'll bring it up on the air. Back a month or two ago, I took a week off of the show, didn't do the show. And it was because I was so fucking stressed out from show research every day. And I'm like, I fucking can't do this no more. And I just decided when I came back that I wasn't going to do that no more. If it came to me on my homepage, I would look into it, but I'm not going to go actively seeking shit to piss me off every fucking day.
That's a good point. There's no need, because you can definitely find it. There's no lack of it.
That's kind of where the early watch thing started to turn towards being a sharing news with us thing. From where I sit, because I don't want to go looking for that shit. There's just too much of it. And, when I was looking at shit for the States, just whatever came across. And with the shit that's going on, it's just too fucking much for me to take in and have to try to digest and distill down to come out on the show with. And that's just, that being pissed off all the time over this shit just wasn't worth it. And I'm sure that it ain't good for my health either. So I fucking stopped doing it. Well, I want to point out there, if any of you early watchers have stuff, you need to, at this point, you need to email it to me at earlywatchil@gmail.com, because I don't have the ability to get into the Early Watch Nation. That's Jimmy's thing, not mine. So if you have any news that you feel we need to touch on the show, please email it to me. Again, earlywatchil@gmail.com. And anybody who wants to do an early watch in their state, that there isn't one, contact me and I'll see about getting you set up with the stuff you need. It's pretty simple. You just early watch your state at gmail.com. That's all it takes to start. I don't even know what states we have. Jimmy's keeping tabs on all of that. And I don't suppose that with his situation, he's been doing a hell of a lot of that in the past few days. So I need to get with him on that when he's got time. But please, if you have any information you want to see us discuss in the show, please email me. And I will decide if I want to cover it or not, I suppose.
Can I take a second here? I noticed that on the YouTube side, Nightwolf says, wish they'd make it easier to upload to Gun Channel's pics and videos. So I'm not sure what you're talking about. I've got the screen share open on Gun Channels. There's different ways you can upload a picture. You can either just upload a picture, or you can upload a picture to your personal profile, right? So that it's associated with you. Or you can upload a picture to a channel, right? If you create a channel or you're a member of a channel and you want to post a picture there, you can do that. Or if there's an event or something and you want to post a picture for that event, you can do that as well. So there's probably other ways you can post pictures, but lots of different places to post pictures. If you just literally want to post something on the main thing here, just click on the main newsfeed and click add photo. Find the photo someplace on your hard drive and write something about it and click share, and that gets a picture up there. If you don't want to do it that way, you can go to photos here, and then there's add a new photo is one of the items in the list. And again, just grab a picture off your computer and either put it in one of the albums you've already made, or create a new album, and then give it whatever names and stuff you want. And when you save that, the title.
On the main page, where is the add photo at? Because I couldn't find that either.
Well, okay, so if you just want to add something immediately, where it says what's new on Gun Channels and you're going to make a post, right underneath it, it says add photo.
Okay.
Find a picture and then say whatever you're going to say. Click share, and now that's up there too. I'm going to start deleting some of these because I've just added 4 pictures in a row to test it, but that's if you just want to put it on the main page. The thing is, when you stick it on the main page, it's just there. So it's not associated with anything necessarily. It's just going to eventually scroll down and be gone. So if you want it to be somewhere that's more retrievable, archive it somewhere where it's a little easier for someone to find in the future. Like I say, you can go to photos and then put it in one of the existing photo albums or make a new photo album, or go to your channel, you know, whatever channel it is. If this is for early watch and you want to add a post picture, if you want to, whatever the channel might be, go to that channel and there's going to be a place for pictures. Let's open up the Knives lobby room, right? Over on the right over here, there's going to be a place for pictures. And then you can create an album there, post a picture. And then that way the picture is always going to be associated with that channel. So it's a big part of a Gun Channels is posting pictures. And now if you're a non-paying member and you're scooting around looking at everything, you're welcome to enjoy Gun Channels, but the server space is for paying members. So they're paying to have some space on there. So if you're not a paying member and you're just hanging out for free, then that might be an issue. And I'm not going to apologize for that. The people that are paying so that they have space to put stuff. So, but if you're a member, then there's all kinds of places to put stuff. And depending on what type of member you are, you have more and more server space if you need it. So hopefully that cleared that up.
I believe so, yeah.
And then they're talking about Arizona Senator. Patriot asked, what's my thought on the Arizona Senator? And Jeff Flake has pushed Senate or S-2470, which would bar those under 21 from purchasing handguns, assault weapons, large capacity magazines, and certain types of ammunition. Oh, I'm okay with that. Like Night Strike says, infringements are all right. It's about time we made Arizona safe with common sense infringements.
You know that the bill that just got through where they fixed NICS, they stuck it in with that spending bill. Now, I wrote my senators and told them to oppose it, and Dick Durbin opposed it.
Interesting. So,
yeah, it is.
Something else in there that he didn't like, or is he literally just doing it?
It wasn't enough, is what he wrote in the letter to me.
Oh, so he thought he needed more infringements.
There's no way that should have passed if these fucking congressmen listened to the constituents. But it's another example of Durbin, at least responding. And it seems that somebody's personally writing these letters. These are not form letters. It can't be. So I'll give Durbin that much credit. He does respond. Me and the guy are absolutely diametrically opposed on our viewpoints. Completely down the freaking board. I think Duckworth will respond like 1 in 10. I get a form letter from them. I get letters from the hood all the time, but that's just.
Are you talking like pieces of paper?
No. Email.
Okay. So I say everything I've always gotten in response to dropping a letter is just an email. I do get them, but it's a different out here, I guess, because they're not trying to tactfully tell me to go to hell. They're usually like, you got it, you know it. Yep, we're on the same team.
That's I get from the hood. He's a Republican, and he is about a quarter way conservative. But he's been a hawk on pro-gun. So far so good there. Same with our governor. He's been pretty hawkish on pro-gun. So that's the saving grace we have right now. They don't have enough in the Senate to override the governor's vetoes for that, even though they did on the freaking budget. Which is why I'm not screaming and jumping up and down about what's going on here, because so far Rauner's been really good. Although he did say that he didn't see any reason that bump stocks should be legal. Like, well, there's no reason they should be illegal either. I don't particularly see a freaking reason for the damn things to exist. I think it's dumb, but still, I'm not going to back banning anything. Even if I don't have the least bit of interest in it one way or the other, I'm going to be completely opposed to banning of anything. Because I went down the other way back in '94. I was not that opposed to the way they sold that assault weapons ban because, one, the guns weren't out and about like they are now. And two, I didn't give a fuck. And I realized after the fact that I had made a grave mistake in taking that particular view. Hypo's asking, did you manage to send a patch for his tactical quiz win? Did you happen to send? I'm sorry, misread that.
For when was that?
Oh no. I can't watch the Daily Gun Show because it's on way past my bedtime.
Yeah, I like doing the show in the middle of the night, but it is definitely not getting views. So it's frustrating. But we haven't done a tactical quiz in a long, long time, so I'm not sure how long ago he's talking about.
That I don't know. I ain't watching any other stuff anyway because of I pay for my fucking data. If I don't watch any videos whatsoever, I don't have to pay extra. I don't have to buy more data. 11 gigs I get a month is enough. But if I watch just a couple of videos, boom, there's fucking $30. $20, I'm sorry. Do you keep records of who's done what there? He's saying about a month and a half ago.
Well, we've got the form, but like I say, we haven't done tactical quizzes in a long time. So I thought we were done over there, but
Jimmy was trying to do some of that sort of thing, and I was fine with the gun questions because that was usually fun. Quizzes, yeah, it was all right, but depending on the platform you were on, you really either got a head start or you got screwed over because there was a little bit of a lag.
well, now that we've got the iTunes back, I like the quiz. I mean, I do like the concept of it, but there's just only so much time in a day, and it does cost something to do it. So it keeps getting turned on and off with the resources. But well, sorry, I'm watching about 4 different things here.
I have started a few things on the show that I haven't followed up with, and I need to. I fully intend to read books, sections of books, gun books online, live here. And I started to do that. I think I did
like reloading manuals. What are you talking about there?
No, I'm talking about gun books like the history of the revolver, history of 44 caliber, shit like that. I've got several here. But I got to figure out when. And I did the States 2A on Tuesdays, and that may be when I do it just because, there's only 50 states or 57 if you're Obama. And I don't know, me and Jimmy haven't sat and talked enough about it yet. Because there's a couple of things I want to do, and I've got to figure out when and get off my ass, so to speak, and do it. And with everything that's been going on, that shit's been put on the back burner. So this stuff is coming back, people, eventually. I fully intend to read the books on here because I think they're interesting. The history of the 44 is one of the more interesting books I've read in a long time. And yes, I am a 44 fanatic to an extent. But, there's just certain things I want to do on the show until it gets to where people say it's boring. I'm just hoping we get to the friggin' point where Jimmy gets to be stable internet connection where he can do the show and figures out a way to be able to do the show and have a job at the same time.
If he wasn't so lazy.
I know it. There's 24 hours in a day and you only need to sleep about 2 of those.
You could work for 20 of them and still have 4 for the show.
I know it. What the hell else we got here? Nothing. Hey, anybody that wants to come in here, please feel free. Because I got fucking nothing. I covered the 2 things I wanted to. And for those who may not have heard it, Illinois is now up to 5 counties that have declared themselves gun sanctuaries. And 15 more are interested in it because they asked the original county to send them copies of their, what the hell do they call that? Proclamation. So I'm hoping that we get 60% of the counties in Illinois to say this, to do this, just to make the statement on a national stage that we are not pro-gun control at all in this state. Only the fuckers in the cities are like that. We'll see what happens. It's actually moving faster than I expected, to be honest with you. Because that only started happening 2 weeks ago. Yeah, 2 weeks ago when Effingham County did it. And now it's up to 5. And hopefully we'll be moving to 15 here before long.
Yeah, it's an indication of just how upset people are and how motivated they are.
Well, I know that the county that I'm in is gun friendly because we probably have the most gun shops per capita of any county in the fucking country from what I see. And this is just me spitting shit out. I have no fucking research on it whatsoever, but we have a bunch of gun sellers here. And some of these sellers, like Pekin Sporting Goods, are rolling through guns a lot. And they sell a bunch. Hell, they sell a bunch to me.
We all know about the iron pipeline up to Chicago. How else do they get them up there?
Oh, that's from Indiana. We can't do that. And I was reading the article on who is it that just made themselves New Hampshire, who is now the strictest state in the country on gun laws. I think it was New Hampshire, but I may be wrong. Anyway, they said they're the only state that requires a permit now to buy a gun. Like bullshit. Illinois has done that for 30 fucking years. You can't buy a gun here unless you have a gun card, which is a permit to have a gun.
Barely be around a gun without one in Illinois.
Pretty much. But the thing with the Illinois FOID card is, and why you don't hear me railing on it all the time, is because it's been all of my fucking adult life. It's just how it is here. You know, and I know it's not going to go away unless the Supreme Court steps in and says, "Hey, you can't fucking do that." Uh, so, you know, it's so fucking cheap and easy to do that it's not really that big of a thing. I mean, it's an infringement, yes, and it should not exist. Period. I get that. But as far as infringements goes, it's one of the minor ones we deal with. We can't have any NFA stuff. That's way more critical to me than the void. The one thing about the void that really pisses me off is I can't go buy ammo without it. But if you come here and go in there and show me your driver's license, you can. Now, how the fuck is that right?
That proves that we're not as mad as you. We're not as violent.
That proves that Illinois is fucking stupid. They don't care if other fucking psychopaths come from other states, buy ammo here, just us. But my youngest daughter just got her FOID card within the past couple of weeks. My wife just got hers last week. So, like I said earlier, I was in that list of people who added to the women in shooting sports because my wife just started after not touching a gun for 20 years. My daughter's been shooting ever since she basically got out of basic training and did her stint. But she kind of kept up with shooting after they stopped making her do it in the Army. So she's been kind of an avid shooter, semi-avid. She is a rifle fanatic. What her husband bought her was a AR and 22 long rifle. And she seems to enjoy the shit out of the gun, which is fine by me. I don't care. Just because I don't particularly like them, I don't knock anybody else who does. But, you know, I took her son to the range. She takes her son to the range. We took her son and daughter to the range, which is the picture that I posted, wherever the hell I posted it at. My second daughter, number 2, is she's been into shooting for quite some time now because her husband was or is. He's doing 3-gun somewhere. And they're teaching their kids all about guns and whatnot, so I don't really have to have those 2 grandkids to deal with because, you know, their folks are teaching them. Now every grandkid I got's been to the range at least once, and most of them several times. I've got my daughter, number 3 daughter, getting my number 1 natural born grandson his apprentice hunting license so I can take him out hunting and he can actually hunt and shoot a squirrel or something if we see one. So, yeah, I'm trying to do my part to expand the gun culture. The one that I'm most proud of is the granddaughter because she is absolutely fascinated with handguns. Oh, let me rephrase that. Revolvers. Hey, Knives.
When do kids got to get a void there?
I don't think they can get one until they're 16.
Oh, no, it has to be earlier than that.
I don't think so. Prior to that, you can own. See, Illinois is kind of freaking odd because you don't have to have the void to own a gun. You just have to have the authority to take that gun anywhere or to buy it. And I suppose if you went by the narrowest interpretation of the law, I bought these kids guns and I was a straw purchaser, but because I'm actually blood kin and it's legal for me to give them to them as a gift. But they could make the case that I made straw purchases because I did buy them for them intentionally. You know, I'm not the owner of the gun. But if I ever get questioned on it, it's like they're my guns. I just let them borrow them and kiss my ass if it comes to that. I've never heard of anybody being even questioned on something like that here. Besides, we're talking cricket 22 single shot rifles. Not like I handed the kid an AK 47 or something. Yet. Hell, it's only my job to get in their first gun. After that, their parents can spring for all that other shit. Unless they specifically come and ask me to help them get one. And at this point, I wouldn't do that either. Like, I'm not going to give them handguns unless I die. If I die, I've got to set out that they all get my guns divided up except for the 2 Smith & Wesson revolvers.
All right, well, let's quit talking about that and then look at the Illinois' website, right? So illinois.gov, and they got this health and safety portion of their website because I was looking for the FOID info.
Yeah.
So you scroll down past all this stuff, prevent fires, blah, 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 blah. Got to go down here and click more results. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Finally, you get to this one. I guess it takes you over to this website.
Most of us in the state already know that you just go to the Illinois State Police.
Nothing about age, though. So I thought you get one. You can get one whenever.
Maybe you can, but I don't think you're required to have one until you're 16. Because you have to have a state ID or driver's license to get it.
Okay.
But they've made it, surprisingly enough for bureaucracy, they've made it pretty simple to do. You go online, you fill out the Illinois version of the 4473, basically. Same kind of, I don't even want to read that shit.
Crazy.
You fill out.
Here's a form you can fill out.
You fill out the form for it, which is basically the questions off 4473, more or less. And you submit that form and $11.50. And in about a month, you get it, providing you don't get declined, which I have known of nobody that's been declined on their Ford card, but I suppose it happens if you have shit in your record. Now, my dad's never had one. He said he will not ever get one.
They're asking on the YouTube side, what is gun sanctuary?
It's basically them saying they're not going to follow the state laws on guns. It's a statement more than anything else. They're saying that they're not going to make their officials enforce laws on guns. So, like the sheriff don't have to. They can't stop them from enforcing the laws, but they can say that they don't have to. It's like marijuana growers here. And the legal system uh, here allows it for medical use, but it's illegal federally. It's the same kind of deal. They're just going to make it optional for their sheriffs to follow the law that they find unjust in the state. And I don't know where the line's going to be on that. Are they going to say, well, fuck that NFA ban? If you got a machine gun here, as long as you're not doing criminal shit with it, you can have it. But I doubt that it's going to be like that. It's like I said, it's intended more as a statement. Basically a fuck you to Chicago.
And to those cities that would be in the sanctuaries for other things, right?
Well, hell, the state's a sanctuary state. Fucking Rauner signed that into law, and I don't know why.
Hey, Knives.
Knives, buddy.
Good morning, guys. Oh, yeah. Can I put out an announcement? California's going to be hearing some little bit of a 2A rights thing in the capital. So you guys, if you guys near in the capital, you guys should go. You're in California.
When is this?
Today.
Well, it's a little bit of short notice.
Yeah, I know.
Better late than never, though.
You see the article that I posted? Was you on here when I talked about that from the LA Times?
No.
Really good article on kids and women shooting guns.
Starting to see a lot of that going on now.
I was shocked that the LA Times did it because I've seen a lot of their shit and they ain't much on guns from what I see. I don't know if I still got the link saved or not, but if I do, I'll post it again. You can look at it. There you go. I posted
So
it.
then they're saying, Hype was saying, what about the state police coming in and enforcing them? I guess that's a possible.
State police?
Like Tony's saying, it's a statement more than anything. So the state police would have to have reason and have to basically be told to, that kind of thing. So.
Right. Yeah, the state police could come in and enforce them. Yes, no question.
I mean, the federals could do the same thing, right?
Right. Exactly. On the pond.
Coming in and doing it. There had to be something going on. That's the thing, is that really this is all a PR game. This is all these campaigns to take away rights are all based on this concept that if you focus on something every single day, some new thing that happens every single day, it seems like it's on the increase. It seems like it's a problem when you ignore the fact that there's 300 million people in this country with dozens of millions of guns, many millions of guns. There's as many guns as cars. There's more guns than cars. So they're not going to acknowledge the fact that most of the guns, massive majority of the guns, are doing nothing, or in the hands of peaceful people that do nothing, have no interest in doing anything harmful with them. But this is a campaign of manipulation, right? Of agenda-based intent. They're trying to mold public opinion. So this effort of sanctuary or gun sanctuary cities or whatever is, again, to fight that conception and the idea that a state or a city, I guess in this case a county, says we're not going to enforce your state level gun laws, and then they don't. Every minute, every day, every week that goes by is what do they call it? Is history to go back and look at, precedent to look at and say, look, they weren't enforcing any law, and guess what? Nothing happened because it's a stupid law. It doesn't need to exist. They're not enforcing it because there's nothing to enforce. You're enforcing something that there's no need to enforce. So it's designed to put scrutiny on the law in the first place. The law that they're not enforcing is a law that doesn't need to exist, and that's the whole point.
Right.
So
And
you could
and
send
it,
federal troops. What are they going to enforce? They're going to go there and stand there and do nothing. So that would be a waste of money and a massive embarrassment for whoever sent them there. So it's just probably not going to happen.
and the fact that they specifically chose to call it a gun sanctuary was deliberately for PR, because you're getting all this talk of sanctuary cities and all that crap, and they wanted to uh, have that sanctuary part of it to get in on that particular. Uh, I don't know if you want to call it conversation or talking point. Talking point's probably it. Uh,
Phenomenon.
yeah, wave, whatever. But they specifically chose to call it a gun sanctuary, using the word sanctuary specifically for the PR aspect. And they said that. I mean, and that's in the article that I read. It said that there was 5 counties that have adopted it, and 15 more had asked to see the original county's declaration. So we may be at 20 here before long, and hopefully we get to like 100. I mean, there's no way the counties around Chicago are going to do it. So Cook and that is all out. But
Oh, I was asking before, how many counties do you think Illinois has?
I believe it's 102. I'm thinking we can get 50 or 60, more than half, would be a great statement. Right now, the way some of the news, especially out of Chicago, spins, it's these hick counties downstate are doing this. Hell, every county outside of Chicago does it, then I don't know if they're going to be able to continue saying all the hick counties downstate or what. I mean, this is firmly a fuck you to Chicago. That's what it's really about, because the counties are saying we're tired of Chicago dictating our policy. But, it's interesting movement in Illinois. It really is. I mean, if you're not from this state, you probably only always hear about how bad it is for gun owners. And yes, it's worse than a lot of other states, but it's also not as bad as others. Illinois gets a little more credit for being bad than it deserves, I think. They're like the EU of the Midwest. I hope a lot of counties get on board with this, because I love the idea of that statement. That's such a great freaking idea, and it would have never occurred to me to do that. And as for my end, I'm planning to go to the next county board meeting and suggest that they do that.
Well, and I think that this kind of stuff is valuable. These kind of efforts for the gun side, right, are kind of valuable because there's few segments of the community, or whatever you want to say, the population of Illinois, where people are going to get together. So let's say like helmet laws for motorcycles or seatbelt laws, little things that they're going to bug you with, health things, school things. There's just very few things they're going to push people where enough of them are going to say, this is important, and push back. So for this like government overreach, as far as like a resistance to the government overreach and a united stand against the whole concept, it's about guns, but it's the gun owners who are standing up for the bigger picture of, the government doesn't get to dictate everything, and the big city doesn't get to dictate everything for the whole state. And it's a battle that signifies more than just this one battle. It's for all the other fights that, like I say, you're not going to get a bunch of people to stand up and go, "Hey, this is bullshit." Maybe about taxes, I guess, possibly.
The thing I like about it is it gets to make a statement on the national stage. The more states we get that, or counties we get in this state to do this, to say that, hey, Illinois ain't as gun control friendly as we thought, just Chicago is. And it will help to make the division between Chicago and downstate, which I had no idea how to do. And it's something that I've talked about several times. I wish Chicago could be a city state on its own. But, that was just a pipe dream. I mean, how do you get this word out that we're not like that? And if we can get most of the counties in Illinois to say, hey, fuck you, Chicago, then that's going to make a great statement on the national stage that Illinois is not what we're cracked up to be as far as being super friendly for gun control. Will it affect anything? I doubt it. Chicago runs the friggin' state. I mean, they just
it'll still make it a little less of a sure thing when they go to, I don't know, assume, or when they go to do their political strategies or whatever. If they go, oh, guns, yeah, well, that's a no-brainer. We always have guns. Let's go, it's a good fallback. If they know that there's a vocal majority of people in the south end of the state who are going to get up and fight every time they bring up guns, that's just all the more reason to not bring up guns this election cycle, right? Like, oh, we don't want to go to guns. That's just a can of worms we don't want to open. Oh, we don't want to go to guns. So that, again, all this effort is accomplishing something in the future, I think, because these people aren't stupid. They're not randomly picking topics. They go after things that they think there's going to be an advantage and a political win. They have no interest in doing anything that gives them a black eye.
Well, yeah, so this whole thing may turn into something way more than I'm expecting. It could possibly change the nature of the state.
That's what I guess I was saying. Yeah, that's a great way to sum it up. That it could potentially be that kind of thing. Because like I say, you're not going to get that with helmet laws. You're not going to get that if they say cheese has to be pasteurized. There's just too many things that they can continue to fracture and screw with just such small portions of the community that nobody gets behind them and says, hey, you can't tell the cheese makers that. And they're like, what do you mean you can't make candles in your garage anymore?
Yeah, I don't. Another thing in the state that is becoming a thing that I really oppose is you can't have potable water sources on your property.
Yeah, I don't like that. You people that hoard water, that's everybody's water.
Well, they're saying, even like digging a well, you can't do that.
Yeah, it's stealing water from the state. The state owns all that water you're setting up.
I already got a well, so fuck you. That's the way I look at it. I already got a well here, so fuck you. That's the one thing about this house that I think is great. It's got a dug well that's probably really good. And I say probably because I've not ever sampled water out of it yet. I don't know how much dead mice and rats and birds and whatnot are dead in it. But it would be something that could be cleaned up and used should shit hit the fan. I would have water. And I'm seriously considering going and buying a pump, hand pump. It's got a dummy one on it, but I'm seriously considering buying a regular hand pump and dropping in the damn thing. And actually cleaning it out and having the water tested, see if it's safe to drink.
You can get solar pumps.
That's all right, hand spine. If it ever came to it, I would drop a submersible in it. But so far, I ain't, fuck. Me and the old lady, we could live with pumped water. I mean, hand pump. The only bitch would be is making hot water. And if the world went to shit, you're not going to have natural gas for your water heater anyway. So hey, you're going to have to heat it up in some other way.
Well, you live in a place where you could collect rainwater and snow too.
Yes. And my house and garage are all guttered and plumbed.
Which is also stealing.
I would be able to, once I cleaned my gutters out, which I need to do again, just set a tank and collect it. I mean, what I have here now is that my gutter spouts come down and they go into buried plastic perforated tile and run to the drain that's in my ditch. But I could, do away with that and route them into a barrel. Hell, I could set 50-gallon barrels underneath each spout. But I don't have that much of a need to because I have a freaking well. And because my house is basically in the bottom of a valley, I'm actually down on the water table with the well. So the water should be good. Granted, like I said, the well might have to be cleaned out. And I don't know that I would get down and tuck it or not, but I might.
Well, now I know Knife Wolf is off his rocker. He says Illinois is another beautiful state, but again, crime is up. I don't know what he thinks about Illinois. It's beautiful.
Maybe you like corn and beans. Southern Illinois is beautiful.
There are some nice spots in any state, sure, but like the whole state's pretty boring.
If you go south of 64, maybe 70, like if you do a line from St. Louis east and then just took that part of the state that's south of that, most of that's, once you get out of the city, it's fairly pretty topography. Most of it. And I have been through most of it. The middle part of the state, and if you like flat ground, that's for you because that's all that motherfucker is. Except for pockets. I mean, there's a great big freaking forest in just outside of Springfield that was it's reclamation of strip mining, which for some reason up in that area there was a lot of strip mining, but not. I'm 50 miles north of that, and I didn't see any strip mining around here. So there must have been a vein of something or other down there. But any pretty shit around here that's not River Valley is artificial. We have Sandridge State Forest here, but it was all planted. It's not a natural forest. They planted that thing to preserve the sand dunes and the whole desert crap that it was in your years past. And I don't know how many 100 or 1,000 years, but it was originally desert at some point. And it still retains some of the desert plants, like most notably prickly pear. Fucking place is full of it. But as far as pretty, I haven't been up much in Northwest Illinois. I've been up along the Mississippi up there, and it's gorgeous there too in places. But most of this state's flat and fucking boring.
There's some places, like you say, that are nice, and then you could say Chicago. I mean, Chicago is a neat town, and it burned down, so it was rebuilt. So it's different than some of the other towns like LA, was built after cars, pretty much. It's a little bit different. Chicago, or everything east, was built before cars, and if it didn't burn down or get ruined, then it can be pretty weird. You know, some of those downtowns are a lot like Europe. Pennsylvania, what is it? Pittsburgh was weird. Like it's like going to Europe or something. There's a lot of weird streets and stuff that they just dealt with and didn't straighten them out. Where Chicago is a little bit different, and Chicago's just got a different flavor to it. It's I think it's a better indication of the country than some of the others, which have a little bit more flavor towards Europe or towards the East. So Chicago is more of a melting pot. It's got a little bit of everything in it, and I don't know. I guess I could see somebody saying that's neat. It's got the water right there, so unlike some of the cities like Dallas and stuff that are landlocked, it's a little bit different. But it's also not a seaport, so it's not quite a ocean port. So it's an interesting, it's a unique town, but yeah, offset by like horrible laws and crooked politicians, which make it kind of scary to go around.
Horrible taxation and financial disaster in the freaking state from being run by liberals for too damn long. Clay's saying out in the chat he was listening to the police scanner and a call went out for an open carry handgun. And a caller reporting it just didn't look right. So why would the police waste their time with this?
I feel like you should only waste your time with comments that come from people that aren't homeless. Homeless comments.
If it's interesting, I'll repeat it. I don't give a shit if they're homeless or not. Why would the cops waste their time? I don't know. Is it legal to open carry in your particular state? Because it's illegal as hell here. And I imagine that the timid would freak the fuck out if somebody walked around with a gun on.
They probably have to also. There's probably an obligation when somebody calls it in to follow through.
Well, I would imagine, yes.
Just to say
especially not legal. We got our concealed carry law kind of left us a trap because it says concealed or partially concealed. And that partially part is really, really fuzzy. How much is partially? Because conceivably, if you got a holster on your hip and a gun stuck in that holster, that gun is partially concealed. You can only see part of it. So I don't know. I dance on the edge of how legal this is now and again by wearing my appendix carry with my shirt tucked in and just a jacket over it open so you can see the gun. And I've not been harassed about it yet, but I don't want to be either, so I don't do it much. Most of the time, if I do it, it's because I wasn't thinking or I forgot. But I can see our local police here getting freaked out by somebody carrying a gun. Although here, there's not a fucking thing they can do about it. Me carrying a gun around the house, it's perfectly legal to do. I don't even have to have a FOID card to carry it around the house.
That makes me think of something else, another aspect of this whole thing when we talk about gun laws and culture and stuff. And that's when guns were everywhere. Olden days, whatever. Most people had firearms, or at least they were more prevalent in society. That means police are more familiar with them and they have a more casual attitude about them, more cavalier attitude about them. And the same way that your vehicle is a very dangerous thing, but a cop doesn't come up and assume that you're going to cause violence with that dangerous vehicle. They're aware that it's a possibility and they're watching your mannerisms and stuff to see if you're the type who might fly off the handle. But for the most part, they're not overly concerned just because you're in control of this massive tool that could cause violence. And it's proven to cause violence. But with a gun, they're overly concerned, and sometimes they even get, beyond realistic precautions and stuff. But again, I think that's because of the stupid antis and their win on getting firearms out of society to the extent that the police are not familiar with them anymore. I mean, out here it's a little different than probably it is in Illinois. But when you started saying that, it made me think that that's one of those wins that they get. They're probably not even aware that they've got it. You know, I'm sure they didn't strategically figure it all out to make that happen. But when you take firearms out of society and they're not, you know, gun racks aren't in the back of pickup truck windows and everybody's not just carrying as a matter of course, then police are going to be a lot less familiar with them. And it's going to make it a lot more awkward for all of us that do plan or that do choose to enjoy our rights. And yeah, that's interesting. And that would be a definite win once we get, you know, more states that the police are just more familiar with interactions with the civilians with firearms on. They're going to be less and less apprehensive about it, less and less concerned about it. Because again, out here, that happens all the time. They don't even, most of the time, they don't even ask if we've got a firearm when they stop us out here for little stuff.
Yeah, that I have said several times in the past that I think it's a tactical mistake to carry open. But I think if we got the law here to open carry, I would carry open around here most of the time just because of that. So people would get used to seeing people carrying a damn gun. Plus, I got pretty guns and I want to show them off. But more than that, I'm just to get people used to the idea of you can carry a damn gun and you're not a problem because you do. I mean, now most local businesses around here know me and they know that I carry. You know, because that's the kind of town this is. You know, it's small and everybody fucking knows everything. But I don't really expose the gun blatantly. You know, every once in a while the butt will be exposed, but I don't do it extremely intentionally, I should say. I'm at the point now where I've carried a gun long enough that it's just second nature. I don't even think about carrying the damn thing. For about a week after I got out of surgery, I didn't have it on while I was sitting here because it hurt. But I'm sitting here carrying a gun now. I feel fucking naked without it. It's like not having my wallet in my back pocket. I just ain't right. And it should be that way in society, you know. A person can own a gun without you being afraid of them. You know, just having the damn thing doesn't make you bad. I don't know how we got to this point in society, really.
I think we got here because a bunch of people went to war and they came back and they were like, that was horrible. I want my kids to never have to deal with that. And we had literally a generation that was interested in keeping their kids, you know, away from that whole thing. And then you had the communists come over and had an interest in defeating us through social efforts and psyops. So they got into our schools and they capitalized on that peacefulness, our peaceful nature, and our interest in seeing the next generation live in a world without world wars, because we just went through 2 generations where they went through world wars. And I think the freaking capitalists or the communists capitalized on that. And they had a long-term goal, and they had a lot of patience and a deliberate end, and they worked towards it, and they worked their way into the schools to get simple things like gun safety and gun education and just general gun knowledge removed. You know, it's blacklisted from schools. They worked on other agendas there to remove individual self-reliance from the teachings, and then worked on media, which was easy. They just had to pay for that. and work influence there. And those people are interested in being praised, and they're real easy to manipulate with money and with attention. So they were able to work some agendas into there, and with the media, they were able to influence the news, and with the change in news to make it more reportive instead of investigative. I think there was a long-term agenda there, and maybe tinfoil hat, but I think it was. I think it wasn't just completely random. I don't think that's just the way that a country full of people who are either the individuals who left countries because they were dissatisfied with their potential or their, what was available in those countries, and they went to a country that's full of capitalists and people that have free will and the ability to grow and to be entrepreneurial. And we live in a country of people who are interested in that, and then we're the descendants of those people. So a bunch of those people got together and had kids. Why wouldn't we be even more determined than the rest of the world? So I don't think that you get a country, a population of millions of people that are dissatisfied with where they were, came to a place where they can peacefully work on making things better and lead the world, literally. And I don't think their natural state would be to sit around vegetating. I think that was manipulated. I think people with interests outside who can't control us did things in order to make it easier to manipulate us. And I think that's ending with the internet and people realizing that we've been led for a while, and that while it's comfortable and easy, it's not determined. It's not something that we decide. I think that's going to be more. I think that we're seeing people that are more interested in that and having options and choices, and we'll see it sway from that. And then doom on Russia. They're going to be frustrated that they spent a bunch of time and effort on this and it didn't work.
I certainly did not consider the 2 generations of war. That actually had not crossed my mind.
Well, I think that's it. I mean, we definitely went through a lot. And think about those generations. They went through horrible shit in World War I. And they did things, unprecedented things like the Geneva Convention, to literally say, even in the throes of war, we're not going to go to that basis level that the Germans let us go to in the first one. And even through an entire world war, we did it with one hand tied behind our back to be better people. And that takes a solid individual nature that nobody forced that comes from within. So those people had kids, and they didn't want their kids to deal with all that.
I'm not really a student of World War I, but I am of World War II. I'm just absolutely fucking fascinated by it. And mostly because of the stuff that we weren't taught that I found out later. Because the things that were done in World War II, horrific things, by our side, and I don't mean just the United States, I mean the Allies, is shocking. There was a lot of shit that was done that really wasn't talked about when I was in school. It's getting more and more notoriety these days, like the internment camps for the Japanese Americans. Fucking never heard of that when I was in school. They never mentioned that. And for the longest time, I thought it was bullshit. But it turns out that, we did do that, Here we are railing against the Germans for what they did, but we did similar, maybe not as severe in the aspect of killing millions of people, but we did lock them up. But I don't pay no taxes. Short of sales taxes, I pay a lot of sales tax on guns. Of course, I pay plenty of we pay property tax here, yes, but I pay plenty of gas tax, road use fuel tax. I drive a Suburban, which doesn't get all the greatest gas mileage in the world, and about $1 of every gallon of gas I buy is motor fuel tax. And I get so pissed off when I see these fucking farmers driving down the road in their goddamn tractors and shit because they don't pay any of that. They don't have to have license plates. They don't have to pay motor fuel tax. I'm like, man, they're out here fucking up, blocking my goddamn road, making me slow the fuck down because I can't get around the big bastard until they pull over. But I digress. That's a tangent of a different day. Now, hell, I have to pay 8.5% sales tax if I go to my favorite gun shop because they have our 6 1/4, 6 3/4, plus 1 or 2% for the city. So that's why we're such a gun-friendly area, because they're making a lot of tax money off of them. And I really have no idea how many guns this place that I use sells, but I would imagine they sell hundreds a week. I have never been to the place. There ain't half a dozen people waiting for them to open every damn day. And I mean, it's not uncommon to see people from 100 miles away come into this store. The reason I know that's because they were in a police van that said Knoxville. And I talked to them. They were corrections officers from Knox County. And I said, yeah, no, we come here all the time. They, on their website, they say they have over 3,000 guns, but I think they probably have, I'm going to guess and say probably 5,000. Because now they've got them, you know, they have guns all along all their walls. And now they've got them sitting on the floor in front of the ones along the walls because they don't have enough space to put them up. All their racks are full, their cases are full, and guns are kind of on top of each other in some of the cases where you can't. They got a lot of fucking guns there. And adding more all the time. I talked to the guy just the other day, and he said, yeah, I just went and bought 200 guns off a guy's collection.
Well, that's what I was just going to say is I was talking to Dragon Man. Well, I wasn't talking to him. He was talking to a group of people kind of doing a little tour of his place. And somebody had asked where he acquires or something or how he acquires. And he was saying that back when he first started, you know, I'm talking about the guy with the big private collection in Colorado, private collection of military stuff in his museum. And started to collect military surplus stuff and memorabilia. And he said it was difficult. You'd find items here and there and they were expensive. But unfortunately, now that the guys who are, old and dying off, they have massive collections. So now it's more of acquiring entire collections that people have spent their lives and, acquiring and researching. And some people sure just have a bunch of stuff in a shoebox, and some of that stuff is treasures. But then lots of people, archive it and make notes of everything and categorize it and have some sort of paperwork to go along with things and have purchased things as opposed to just, having things from hand-me-downs. And then, because of that, there's what they call that, the story that goes along with them is official in that. So that's the thing. You might have stores that are the same way where, normally they deal with a consignment gun or a used gun, but as people kick in the bucket, their wives aren't necessarily holding on to these things, right? They need the money or whatever, or they just want to move the stuff along. And you have to do it through a store. It's not like you can just throw the stuff in the garbage. Sometimes people feel obligated to take it to a shop. And then not everybody has kids to give it to anymore. So, or they just don't want them, right? So now potentially you see stores getting really big.
I'll tell you, this guy, he's been big for 30 years now. And he started about 50 years ago, or he didn't, his dad did. But he's the type of guy that'll go into the collection And if people are wanting a keepsake or two but want to sell the rest of it, he will select the stuff that they should keep.
Mm-hmm.
And this last guy's wife, family, I don't know if it's his wife or his kids, he had a mint condition 73 Winchester, an original one from, it was from the 1880s, somewhere in there. And he said, you should keep this gun because I can't give you what it's worth and try to make money. And he said, I don't have a vested interest in screwing people. So I absolutely do not. And, that speaks to the shop. It really does. And I like to say, I've known this dude.
The shop doesn't need to hurt anybody. It's there to facilitate getting stuff out of their hair and making them some money at a level where other people are going to be happy to bring it into their collections. But yeah, they don't need to screw anybody for that.
He's also been willing to facilitate transfers between two people that are his customers instead of, selling to him and then somebody else buying it from him. He'd put two people together to make a deal, and then he'd just charge you the $25 to do the transfer to make it legal.
Very cool.
Yeah. They're not the absolute rock bottom prices that you can find online, but they're not bad either.
Yeah, and it's keeping a business like that in business.
I mean, so far what people have told me is the handguns I bought from him, I've stolen. Because I bought that 29 for $800, and I bought that 629. I think it was $750. And I bought that Ruger Mark II for two and a quarter. And it's just, walked in, there's what it is. What do you take for it? They tell me I either take it or I don't. But yeah, the 629, I haven't found anywhere near that cheap. I haven't looked on the 29. Then I bought these two damn Ubertis for $500 a piece, which is cheaper than I've seen them elsewhere. They're running about $600 now. I did not get a break on my Rugers. Those Vaqueros cost me $700. And that was just what it was. I think I could probably get them at Buds or something for like $6 1/4 or $6.50. But it ain't worth it, to save $75, which you ain't saving because you have to pay transfer fees. I would rather give a little extra to my local. For one, because I want the gun in my hand before I buy it. Although with the Ruger, I didn't do that because I just ordered it. Same with that freaking 1895 Marlin. I didn't care to hold the gun. I didn't need to. I knew I wanted it, period.
Mike is asking, shop in Knoxville?
No, it's shop in Pekin.
So when you go in there and they go, can I help you? You go, no, just peeking. That would do.
Oh, they probably shoot you.
They can't get enough of that. I'm sure they love that when you say that.
I don't know, man. I've been around the city all my life. I was born there. It's just one of those things. All right, you want to wind this thing down?
Sounds good. So we're doing the show in the mornings to kind of get back on track. We'll keep giving Jimmy a link when he's got his stuff. He'll be jumping in and running it with Tony here. Till then, happy to help out. And I appreciate everybody that jumped in here to I'll be part of that conversation. That's what it's all about. And if anybody wants to help out Tony, check out the Early Watch Nation. Is that what it's called? EarlyWatchNation.com?
Yeah, that's the website, but I don't really have anything to do with it. If you really want to communicate with me, you need to go to my email, which is earlywatchil, short for Illinois, at gmail.com. I answer every legit email I get. If I say just okay, I do answer everything.
Right on. So if somebody wants to give you a piece of news or something to talk about on the show, that's the way to get it to you.
Yes.
Right on. We'll be on gun channels, of course. Watch the YouTube stuff because we have to until Night Strike's got GunTube running. Till then, we'll see you tomorrow morning.
All right. Good day, everybody.